We drift quietly past centuries, watching the rise and fall of modern civilizations dissolve into dust. We drift past millennia, watching cities unbuild themselves and return to the earth. We float backward past millions of years, watching the great glaciers of the ice ages recede and advance in a beautiful, slow-motion rhythm. We keep drifting until the world we know is entirely gone, replaced by a primeval earth untouched by human hands. We arrive at a crucial junction in the tapestry of time. The very night the world was meant to change forever, but didn't. We find ourselves suspended in the warm, heavy air of the late Cretaceous period. The atmosphere here is different than anything you have ever breathed. It is rich, thick, and perfectly still. It carries the deep, earthy scent of damp soil, the rich aroma of ancient, velvet-like moss, and the sweet, heavy perfume of giant fern blossoms resting in the dark. Every breath you take in this ancient world feels profoundly nourishing, filling your lungs with the purest oxygen the earth has ever known. Above the slumbering canopy of towering sequoias and sprawling, ancient cycads, we look up into the endless expanse of a starry night sky. Without a single artificial light on the entire planet, the stars are incredibly brilliant, scattered across the pitch-black velvet of the cosmos like millions of crushed diamonds. The Milky Way stretches from one horizon to the other, a magnificent, glowing ribbon of cosmic dust and pale starlight. It is a sky of profound, undisturbed tranquility, watching over a world that is completely at peace. Down below, on the surface of the world, the giants of the earth are sleeping. The great ancient continents are blanketed in a heavy, restorative silence, broken only by the rhythmic, deep, rumbling breath of the massive creatures that call this lush world home. They rest in the shadowed valleys. They slumber in the thickets of towering ferns. Their colossal bodies rise and fall in slow, hypnotic harmony with the turning of the planet itself. Deep in a clearing surrounded by giant prehistoric pines, a herd of massive triceratops is resting. You can hear the slow, powerful rush of air escaping their lungs, a sound so deep you can almost feel it vibrating in your own chest. One of the adults shifts slightly, its massive, armored frill brushing softly against the damp earth, before letting out a long, contented sigh and settling deeper into sleep. Further away, nestled in the protective roots of a gargantuan tree, a family of smaller, feathered dinosaurs is curled together for warmth. Their vibrant feathers are muted in the moonlight, and their breathing is light and perfectly synchronized. They are entirely unaware of the heavens above, deeply locked in their dreams, safe beneath the sprawling branches of the ancient forests. But our gaze is drawn upward, away from the sleeping world, up past the thin, wispy clouds that drift lazily through the upper atmosphere, and out into the freezing, breathless expanse of the deep void. Here, in the absolute silence of space, a celestial traveler is making its journey. It is a mountain of stone and ancient, frozen water, a relic from the very birth of the solar system, hurtling through the dark at incomprehensible speeds. In another timeline, this massive stone would be the harbinger of an ending. It would bring a blinding flash of fire, an impenetrable wall of dust, and a darkness that would close the book on the age of these magnificent sleeping giants. It would shatter the peace of this world and erase these beautiful creatures from the tapestry of life. But in this universe, in this quiet, peaceful, and gentle timeline, destiny has shifted its course by a fraction of a degree. A subtle nudge of gravity from a distant gas giant millions of years ago, a microscopic alteration in its trajectory, a whisper of chance, has rewritten the fate of the entire world. We watch, suspended in the silent, weightless gravity of space, as the great rock approaches. It catches the distant, pale light of the sun, casting a soft, ethereal glow against the absolute blackness of the void. It is beautiful in its terrifying scale, a silent monument to the raw, untamed power of the cosmos. As it nears the Earth, the tension dissolves into absolute calm. It does not plunge into the atmosphere. It does not ignite the sky with a blinding streak of fire. Instead, suspended in a moment of breathtaking, delicate grace, the massive, glowing asteroid glides silently past Earth and disappears into the endless dark. It misses the planet by a comfortable, life-saving margin. It is a near miss that registers as nothing more than a fleeting shadow moving gracefully across the pale surface of the moon. Breathe in the relief of that silent passage. Breathe it deep into your chest. Breathe out any lingering tension, any anxiety, any fear. The crisis has been averted before it ever truly began. The glowing mountain of rock sails onward, continuing its lonely voyage into the outer, freezing edges of the solar system, leaving the beautiful blue and green jewel of the Earth entirely unharmed. The planet continues its slow, steady rotation, completely oblivious to the apocalyptic event that just quietly bypassed it in the night. The gravitational pull of the passing asteroid is so gentle, so distant, that it causes nothing more than a slightly higher tide in the vast, dark oceans below. The waters swell gracefully, gently lapping against the ancient, sandy shores in a soft, rhythmic lullaby that echoes out into the dark. The night continues its slow, peaceful progression. The stars wheel overhead in their eternal mechanical perfection, tracing slow, dizzying arcs across the Cretaceous sky. Down in the valleys, the heavy, rhythmic breathing of the sleeping giants continues unabated. High in the canopy, a resting pterosaur tucks its head deeper beneath its massive, leathery wing, completely undisturbed by the whisper of the wind. The world is safe. The unbroken chain of life remains perfectly intact, allowed to stretch forward into the millions of years that lay ahead, free to evolve, free to grow, free to simply be in a state of eternal harmony. Feel the absolute stillness of this alternate reality. There is no rush here. There is no impending doom. There are no deadlines, no expectations, no demands. There is only the slow, steady heartbeat of a healthy, thriving planet. The cool night wind rustles gently through the tops of the towering conifers, creating a soft, static whisper that washes over the landscape like a soothing ocean wave. Listen to the wind. Let it clear your mind of any remaining thoughts. Let it sweep through the corridors of your mind, carrying away any worries, any stress, leaving you with nothing but the sensation of deep, abiding, infinite peace. Hours pass in this state of perfect tranquility. The passage of time here is not measured by the ticking of a clock, but by the slow, majestic movement of the cosmos. The moon, a brilliant silver sphere in the ancient sky, slowly tracks across the horizon. It casts long, soft shadows through the thick trunks of the forest, painting the forest floor in alternating bands of silver and ink-black darkness. As the night deepens, the air begins to cool, and a gentle, refreshing dew begins to form on the broad, green leaves of the prehistoric flora. Tiny, delicate droplets of water gather on the edges of the emerald foliage. They perfectly reflect the ambient starlight, looking like microscopic, perfect spheres of glass resting on beds of green velvet. The world is locked in the absolute deepest stage of sleep, that profound, heavy slumber where the body heals, the muscles repair, and the mind drifts freely and happily through the limitless ether of dreams. Everything is heavy. Your arms are heavy. Your legs are heavy. You are sinking perfectly into the deep, dark comfort of this ancient night. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the infinite black of the eastern horizon begins to soften. The stars at the very edge of the world begin to dim, their brilliant silver light gracefully yielding to the earliest, faintest hint of deep indigo. The earth is turning, carrying the ancient landscape out of the protective shadow of the night and back toward the gentle warmth of its star. The night is ending, but it is not a sudden, jarring awakening. It is a slow, gentle, and utterly peaceful transition, a seamless blending of dark into light. The deep indigo along the horizon gradually warms, shifting into soft, bruised shades of violet, and then into the palest, most delicate pink. The shadows in the forest begin to lose their sharp, dark edges, blurring softly into the cool, grey light of the pre-dawn. The air is perfectly still, holding its breath in quiet anticipation of the sun. Far off in the distance, a single low-frequency call echoes through the misty valley. It is the deep, resonant, cello-like sound of an ancient creature greeting the new day. It is a sound of profound peace, a declaration of survival, a gentle note of unbroken continuity. The sky brightens further, and the scene begins to slowly, beautifully fade to a peaceful sunrise. The first golden rays of the sun break over the distant mountains. The light catches the thick morning mist that has settled over the jungle, turning the rolling fog into a soft, glowing sea of gold and amber. The timeline continues. The earth awakens, safe, warm, and endlessly beautiful. Sink deeper into the warmth of your own bed. Feel the soft glow of that prehistoric sunrise washing over you, enveloping you in the safety of this unbroken dawn. Let yourself drift away on the gentle currents of time. Sleep. Rest. Drift endlessly into the beautiful, unending calm. The deep, heavy blanket of the ancient night is finally beginning to lift. If you are still holding on to any tension from the waking world, let it go now. Release the grip in your hands. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Sink entirely into the soft, supporting surface beneath you. Breathe in the cool, perfectly pristine air of a world that has been entirely spared from destruction. Hold that breath, feeling the absolute safety and stillness of this alternate reality, and then let it out in a long, slow, whispering sigh. The crisis has passed. The great mountain of stone and ice that threatened this world is gone, sailing away into the freezing depths of the cosmos, leaving behind a planet that is whole, healthy, and entirely at peace. As the stars at the very edge of the horizon begin to dim, closing their silver eyes one by one, a profound and unbroken dawn begins to wash over the earth. It is not a sudden breaking of light, but a slow, majestic, and agonizingly gentle transition. The pitch-black velvet of the night sky gradually softens into a deep, bruising indigo, a color so rich and heavy it feels as though you could reach out and touch it. This indigo slowly gives way to softer shades of violet, bleeding seamlessly into the pale, delicate pinks of the early morning. The world is turning, rotating slowly and safely back toward the warmth of its star. Down on the surface of the world, the air is thick, cool, and incredibly still. A heavy morning mist is rolling over a hyper-realistic, lush, prehistoric jungle. This mist is not like the thin fog of the modern world. It is a dense, glowing sea of silver vapor, clinging tightly to the damp soil, pooling in the shadows of the deep valleys, and wrapping itself like a protective blanket around the massive, textured trunks of the ancient trees. As you breathe in, you can almost taste the absolute purity of the moisture in the air. It carries the rich, dark, earthy scent of ancient moss, damp soil, and the sweet, heavy fragrance of giant ferns that are just beginning to uncoil their massive fronds in the pre-dawn light. You are floating gently through this mist, weightless and invisible, a silent observer in a world untouched by time. The massive jungle around you is a masterpiece of towering sequoias and sprawling ancient cycads, an endless ocean of deep, vibrant greens muted softly by the grey light of the morning. Every surface, every leaf, every branch is coated in a thick, heavy layer of morning dew. These millions of perfect, tiny water droplets cling stubbornly to the edges of the flora, waiting patiently for the sun to ignite them. Listen closely to the silence. It is not an empty silence, but a heavy, expectant quiet. It is the sound of an entire planet holding its breath in pure, undisturbed tranquility. And then, slowly, the silence is broken. From far off in the misty valleys, you feel it before you hear it. It is a vibration in the earth, a deep, resonant hum that travels through the damp soil and resonates perfectly in the center of your chest. These are the gentle, low-frequency rumbles of massive creatures waking up in the distance. The sound is not a roar. It is a slow, rhythmic, cello-like vibration. A peaceful morning greeting from the giants of the earth. The rumbles echo softly through the dense fog, overlapping one another in a beautiful, disorganized symphony of survival. They are the sounds of life continuing, of massive hearts beating in slow, measured time, of lungs expanding to take in the cool, misty air of a brand new day. Let that deep, vibrating sound wash over you. Let it anchor you to this ancient earth, pulling you deeper and deeper into a state of total relaxation. Through the silver sea of the morning fog, massive, dark silhouettes begin to shift. They move with an incredible, hypnotic slowness, completely unhurried by the passage of time. A herd of colossal brachiosaurus, towering higher than the ancient trees themselves, slowly raises their long, graceful necks from the protective canopy of the forest. Their movements are so smooth, so deliberate, they seem to be swimming through the thick morning air. As they shift their impossible weight, the earth beneath them lets out a soft, heavy sigh, a muffled thud that barely disturbs the absolute calm of the morning. The sky above continues to brighten, shifting from pale pink to a vibrant, glowing gold. The first rays of the sun finally crest the distant, jagged peaks of the prehistoric mountains. The light spills down into the valley like liquid amber, piercing through the dense canopy in massive, glowing columns of pure, warm light. As the golden hour begins, the jungle transforms. The morning mist catches the light, glowing from within like a sea of spun gold. The millions of dewdrops resting on the giant ferns suddenly ignite, flashing like microscopic diamonds scattered across a bed of emerald velvet. Feel the warmth of that ancient sun touching your skin. It is a gentle, comforting heat, melting away any remaining chill from the night. It warms your face, your shoulders, your arms, sinking deep into your muscles and coaxing them into a state of absolute, heavy rest. You are completely safe here, hidden in the soft, glowing mist of a world that time forgot. As the sun climbs higher, the jungle truly begins to awaken, but it does so with a profound, unbroken peace. There is no frantic rush, no desperate scramble. There is only the slow, majestic rhythm of nature unfolding exactly as it was meant to. High above, in the highest branches of the sequoias, the leaves rustle softly as a gentle morning breeze sweeps through the valley. It is a sound like a distant, soothing ocean wave, washing over the landscape and carrying away any lingering thoughts from your mind. The low-frequency rumbles of the waking giants continue, a constant, comforting bass line to the gentle symphony of the morning. You watch as a massive, heavily armored ankylosaurus slowly blinks its heavy eyelids against the morning light, its incredibly detailed, sun-weathered scales absorbing the golden warmth of the sun. It lets out a long, slow breath, a cloud of warm vapor mingling with the morning mist, before lowering its heavy head to begin grazing on the damp, low-lying ferns. Every movement in this world is an invitation to sleep. The slow swaying of the giant trees, the hypnotic, drifting fog, the deep, vibrating hum of the magnificent beasts. You are drifting with them, completely untethered from your own reality, floating peacefully on the currents of this alternate, perfect timeline. The earth is breathing beneath you. The sun is warming you. The mist is hiding you. Let the golden light of this unbroken dawn fill your mind, crowding out all other thoughts, all other worries. There is nothing to do here. There is nowhere to be. There is only this moment, this perfect, endless morning in a world that will never end. The giants will continue to graze. The sun will continue to rise. And you will continue to sink deeper and deeper and deeper into the heaviest, most restorative sleep you have ever known. Rest now in the warmth of the ancient sun. Sleep now in the safety of the misty valley. Let go and simply drift. The golden warmth of the prehistoric morning has completely washed away the cool shadows of the night. If you haven't already, allow yourself to sink even deeper into the soft, supporting embrace of your bed. Feel the heaviness in your limbs, a comforting, grounding weight that anchors you perfectly in this moment of absolute peace. Take a slow, deep breath in, drawing the crisp, pure, ancient air deep into your lungs. Hold it for just a heartbeat, feeling the stillness within you. And now, release it. Let it go with a long, soft sigh. With that breath, release any tiny, lingering fragments of tension. Let go of the need to be anywhere else. Let go of the need to do anything at all. You are entirely safe here, drifting effortlessly on the gentle, unbroken currents of a world that time forgot. As the sun climbs higher in the pale, beautiful sky, the morning mist that blanketed the forest floor begins to slowly, gracefully lift. It rises in thin, glowing ribbons, twisting and curling upwards toward the warmth of the light. We are rising with it. We are leaving the damp, shadowed earth behind and floating silently, weightlessly, up into the vast, sprawling canopy of the ancient jungle. We ascend past the thick, textured trunks of towering sequoias. These trees are unimaginably vast, ancient pillars of life that have stood in absolute silence for thousands of years. Their bark is deeply grooved, painted in rich, warm shades of cinnamon and dark amber, catching the morning light in a way that makes the wood itself seem to glow from within. We float higher and higher, surrounded by the soft, static whisper of the wind moving through millions of vibrant green needles. The air up here is different. It is warmer, lighter, and completely bathed in the radiant, golden light of the new day. As we breach the top of the canopy, a breathtaking, endless ocean of green stretches out before us, rolling away toward the distant, hazy mountains. It is a world of pure, untouched majesty. And here, in this sun-drenched sanctuary above the clouds, we find the true sovereigns of the sky, rising from the sea of green, dwarfing even the massive branches of the sequoias, are the long, elegant necks of the great, gentle giants. We are watching towering sauropods gracefully grazing from the tops of giant sequoia trees. They are magnificent. They are impossibly massive, yet they move with a delicate, breathtaking grace that defies their incredible size. We are observing them in extreme slow motion, allowing our minds to synchronize with their unhurried, peaceful existence. There is absolutely no rush in this world. There is no urgency. There is only the slow, steady rhythm of survival in a state of perfect harmony. Watch as one of the colossal sauropods slowly, smoothly arcs its massive neck through the warm morning air. Its movements are as slow as the wind, a hypnotic, sweeping motion that takes minutes to complete. The muscles beneath its thick, sun-weathered skin ripple and shift with a fluid, heavy power, yet the creature exerts no sudden effort. It is a masterpiece of biological engineering, designed entirely for peace, for patience, and for the slow consumption of the endless bounty that surrounds it. Let the slowness of their movements become your own. As the giant dinosaur slowly turns its head, feel your own heart rate begin to slow, matching the deep, resonant, and widely spaced beats of its massive heart. As it slowly opens its jaw to strip a branch of its tender, bright green needles, feel the muscles in your own jaw completely relax. Unclench your teeth. Let your tongue fall softly away from the roof of your mouth. Let the deep, abiding calm of these magnificent creatures wash over you like a warm, comforting wave. The sunlight catches the intricate, leathery textures of the sauropod's face. You can see the deep, ancient wisdom in its large, gentle eyes. These are eyes that have never known the terrifying flash of fire from the sky. They have never looked upon a world ending in darkness. They only know the rising of the sun, the cooling of the rain, and the endless, peaceful continuation of their kind. They are perfectly content, and as you watch them, you are perfectly content too. The sound up here in the canopy is a beautiful, soothing symphony. There is the gentle rustle of the leaves as the giants slowly pull the branches toward them. There is the deep, muffled, rhythmic sound of their chewing, a slow, methodical grinding that sounds like distant, rolling thunder. And beneath it all, there is the ever-present, soft whisper of the prehistoric wind, carrying the fresh, clean scent of the high-altitude foliage. It is a natural lullaby, a soundscape designed to quiet the mind and soothe the soul. Another giant slowly emerges from the canopy nearby, its long neck reaching toward the very highest branches, seeking the leaves that have absorbed the most sunlight. They move together in a slow, silent ballet, a dance that has been performed perfectly every single morning for millions of years. Their long, whip-like tails counterbalance their massive necks, swaying gently behind them deep within the forest below, completely hidden from our view. Up here, it is just their serene, gentle faces, bathed in the golden morning light, existing in a state of eternal, undisturbed bliss. Feel how heavy your body has become. You are sinking perfectly into the mattress, your limbs completely relaxed, your mind floating freely in this ancient, sunlit canopy. The slow, hypnotic movements of the sauropods are mesmerizing. They draw you in, pulling you away from the waking world and deeper into the limitless ether of your dreams. Every time they slowly exhale, a soft, warm mist escapes their nostrils, catching the sunlight and dissipating instantly into the pure, clean air. Breathe with them. As they draw the cool morning air down their impossibly long necks, take a deep, slow breath in. Fill your lungs completely, expanding your chest, holding that pure, ancient oxygen for just a moment. And as they slowly, peacefully exhale, release your breath. Let it all go. Feel the last remaining threads of your consciousness begin to beautifully, softly fray. The sun continues its slow journey across the pale sky, warming the backs of the gentle giants. They will stand here for hours, slowly, patiently grazing, completely unbothered by the passage of time. They have nowhere to be. They have nothing to achieve. They only need to be here, in this perfect, safe, unbroken moment. And that is all you need to do, as well. You only need to be here, resting, breathing, floating. Let the image of the towering giants fade slowly into the warm golden light behind your closed eyelids. Let the soft, rhythmic sounds of their peaceful existence become a distant, comforting hum in the back of your mind. You are drifting away now. You are sinking down, past the canopy, past the massive trunks, down into the deep, dark, comforting shadows of the most restorative sleep you have ever known. Let the heavy, peaceful rhythm of the ancient earth carry you away. Sleep now. Rest deeply. Drift eternally into the beautiful, unending calm. As we linger here in the immense, sprawling canopy of the prehistoric giants, a subtle, beautiful change begins to sweep across the ancient sky. The brilliant, golden warmth of the morning sun is softly, gracefully diffused. A vast rolling blanket of pale silver-grey clouds begins to gather overhead, moving with a slow, majestic purpose across the horizon. They are not the dark, threatening clouds of a violent storm, but the soft, heavy, comforting clouds of a deeply nurturing nourishment. They lower themselves gently over the jagged peaks of the distant mountains, drawing a soft, grey curtain over the world, signaling to every living creature that it is time to rest, to be still, and to listen. The air around you begins to change. The temperature drops by just a few degrees, wrapping the jungle in a cool, incredibly refreshing embrace. You can feel the barometric pressure shifting softly against your skin, a deeply calming weight that presses down on the forest, urging it into a state of profound slumber. And then, riding on the back of a slow, whispering breeze, comes the scent. It is the rich, intoxicating, earthy perfume of petrichor, the smell of ancient dust, damp moss, and the sweet, heavy pollen of giant ferns anticipating the coming water. It is a scent that speaks of life, of healing, and of absolute tranquility. Breathe it in deeply. Let that pure, primal aroma fill your lungs and wash away any lingering thoughts. High above, in the silver-grey expanse of the sky, the clouds finally reach their breaking point, heavy and saturated with the purest water the earth has ever known. A gentle, steady rain begins to fall. It does not start with a sudden jarring downpour, but with a solitary, perfect drop. You can hear it, a soft, delicate tap against the broad, waxy surface of a giant magnolia leaf high in the canopy. Then comes another, and another. The drops fall slowly, lazily, taking their time as they drift down through the thick, quiet air. Within moments, the solitary taps multiply, blending and weaving together into a continuous, unbroken symphony of sound. The gentle, steady rain begins to fall in earnest, blanketing the entire prehistoric world in a soft, rhythmic white noise. It is the ultimate natural lullaby, a sound so deeply ingrained in the memory of life itself that your body responds instantly, your muscles relaxing deeper into your bed, your heart rate slowing to match the tempo of the falling water. The rain whispers through the millions of pine needles, patters softly against the sprawling fern fronds, and thrums a deep, resonant bass note as it strikes the hollow trunks of fallen sequoias. Deep within this lush, rain-soaked sanctuary, sheltered beneath the massive, overlapping leaves of the ancient canopy, a family of theropods has settled down to sleep. They are completely undisturbed by the changing weather, safe and dry in the cradle of the forest. The camera of our mind's eye drifts closer, moving with an impossible, floating smoothness, pushing in until we are mere inches from these magnificent creatures. We focus entirely on close-up, ultra-detailed shots of water droplets rolling off the vibrant, water-resistant feathers of resting theropods. These are not the scaly, rough-hewn beasts of old legends, but breathtakingly beautiful creatures, adorned in plumage that rivals the most exquisite tapestries. The feathers are thick, lush, and perfectly layered, creating an impenetrable, insulating shield against the cool, damp air. Even in the soft, muted grey light of the rainy afternoon, their colours are striking. There are deep, iridescent emerald greens that perfectly mimic the surrounding foliage, rich, mahogany browns that blend seamlessly with the ancient bark, and subtle flashes of deep, midnight blue that catch the faint ambient light. Listen to the intricate, microscopic sounds of the rain interacting with this incredible prehistoric plumage. As the gentle, steady rain begins to fall, the water does not soak into the feathers. Instead, it beads up upon impact. We watch in extreme hypnotic slow motion as a single drop of pure rainwater falls from a leaf above and lands perfectly on the back of a resting theropod. The moment it touches the vibrant, water-resistant feathers of resting theropods, it forms a flawless, trembling sphere, a tiny, crystal-clear globe that holds a perfectly inverted reflection of the grey sky and the green canopy. The heavy, rhythmic breathing of the sleeping dinosaur causes its massive chest to rise and fall in a slow, hypnotic cadence. With the gentle slope of the creature's back, the perfect sphere of water begins to move. We follow the close-up, ultra-detailed shots of water droplets rolling off the vibrant, water-resistant feathers of resting theropods. The droplet glides effortlessly across the micro-texture of the plumage, tracing the intricate, overlapping patterns of the feathers. As it rolls, it gathers smaller, microscopic beads of mist, growing slightly heavier, pulling other tiny droplets into its gravity. The sound it makes is a soft, incredibly satisfying whisper, a delicate, frictional shh, as the water slips across the natural oils of the prehistoric feathers. It is an intricate, deeply relaxing audio landscape. You can hear the larger drops thudding softly onto the forest floor, the delicate patter of rain on the leaves above, and the incredibly intimate, close-up sound of water effortlessly shedding from the resting giants. The theropod does not even flinch. It simply exhales, a long, rumbling breath of warm air that briefly fogs the cool, damp atmosphere around its resting head, perfectly content, perfectly warm, beneath its magnificent coat. Every single droplet that falls is a tiny massage for your mind, washing away tension, smoothing over anxiety, and pulling you further down into the heavy, comforting dark of true rest. Follow the journey of another drop. It lands delicately on the soft, downy vellus feathers near the creature's closed eye. The dinosaur's eyelids are heavy, completely relaxed, the delicate skin around them twitching only slightly in the deepest stages of a dream. The drop catches a tiny fraction of light, gleaming like a microscopic pearl, before it slowly traces the curve of the theropod's brow, rolling gently down the side of its face, and finally dropping silently into the soft, velvet moss below. The entire forest is weeping tears of pure, unadulterated peace. The gentle, steady rain begins to fall with a perfect, unchanging rhythm. It does not grow violent, nor does it fade away. It simply exists, a constant, reliable blanket of sound that isolates you from the rest of the universe. The lush, prehistoric jungle drinks in the moisture. The ancient bark of the sequoias turns black with the damp, their deep, textured grooves channeling the rainwater down into the thirsty earth in slow, meandering miniature rivers. You are completely surrounded by this symphony of water. Imagine yourself resting right beside these magnificent, feathered giants. Feel the dry, incredible warmth radiating from their massive, sleeping bodies, a stark, comforting contrast to the cool, damp air of the rainy forest. You can feel the deep, low-frequency rumble of their purring breath vibrating through the soft moss beneath you. As they breathe in, you breathe in. A deep, slow intake of cool, rain-washed air. As they breathe out, you breathe out. A long, heavy release of all your remaining energy, sinking your weight entirely into the earth. There is a profound beauty in this microscopic focus, in watching the close-up, ultra-detailed shots of water droplets rolling off the vibrant, water-resistant feathers of resting theropods. It forces the mind to shrink down, to abandon the massive, sprawling worries of the future and the past, and to exist solely in the tiny, perfect physics of a single drop of water falling in an ancient, forgotten world. The water beads, it rolls, it falls. The chest rises, it pauses, it falls. The rain whispers, it patters, it hums. Let the sound of the rain become the only thing in your universe. Let the white noise wash over your consciousness, burying any stray thoughts beneath a heavy, impenetrable layer of sonic comfort. The timeline is safe. The asteroid has passed. The world has continued. And here, in the cool, rain-drenched shadows of the Cretaceous canopy, there is nothing to fear, nothing to plan, and nothing to do but rest. The millions of tiny drops continue their endless, mesmerizing descent. They slip down the emerald green fronds. They glide down the mahogany brown bark. They bead and roll effortlessly across the vibrant, water-resistant feathers of resting theropods. Each drop is a lullaby. Each breath is a release. You are heavier now than you have been all day. You are melting into the quiet. You are drifting on the sound of the falling water, carried gently, safely, and infinitely into the deepest, most beautiful sleep. Surrender entirely to the rhythm of the rain and let yourself go. Below you, a sweeping, aerial view of an untouched continent begins to unfold. It is a vast, breathtaking tapestry of deep, vibrant greens, rich earthen browns, and the brilliant, winding silver ribbons of massive rivers. There are no roads here. There are no cities, no borders, no scars upon the earth. It is a world entirely in balance, a sprawling masterpiece of nature stretching out as far as the eye can see. The mountains rise like sleeping giants, their peaks dusted with pristine white snow, while the deep, shadowed valleys hold secrets that have remained undisturbed for millions of years. From this great height, the world below is completely silent. You are a silent observer, suspended in the safety of the sky, watching the grand, majestic theater of the earth. And here, in this quiet expanse, the narrative shifts to how time simply flowed on. In our world, time is so often a rushing river, a frantic, tumbling current that pushes us constantly forward. But in this alternate reality, time is a slow, wide, and perfectly calm ocean. It does not rush, it does not demand, it simply is. Without the sudden, blinding flash of an asteroid, without the catastrophic end of an era, the great reset of the world never happened. The slate was never wiped clean. Instead, the river of time was allowed to continue its gentle, unbroken course. Watch as the suns rise and set in a beautiful, rapid flicker of gold and indigo. Watch as the seasons roll across the vast, untouched continent in a slow, rhythmic breath of green and amber. Millennia pass like the blinking of an eye. Millions of years drift by like a soft breeze through the canopy. And through it all, the world remains safe. The world remains whole. Because the world was not forced to rebuild from the ashes, evolution did not have to be a desperate, frantic scramble for survival. There was no need for panic. There was no need for vicious, accelerated change. Instead, the unfolding of life happened in the slow lane. The massive creatures that walk the earth were given the ultimate luxury, the gift of uninterrupted time. Look down at the vast rolling plains, where massive herds of giant herbivores are slowly migrating across the landscape. As the millions of years flow past, you can see the subtle, beautiful changes. Allowing these creatures to grow smarter and calmer, the brutal edges of survival begin to soften. The sharp instincts of fear and aggression slowly dissolve, replaced by a deep, resonant understanding of their world. When a creature does not need to constantly fight to survive, its mind is free to expand. Their brains grow larger, their neural pathways becoming more complex, more intricate. But this intelligence does not bring anxiety. It brings a profound, abiding peace. They grow smarter and calmer, their large, ancient eyes filled with a deep, quiet wisdom. They learn the intricate language of the forests. They understand the subtle shifts in the weather, the changing of the tides, the slow, magnetic pull of the moon. They are entirely in tune with the heartbeat of the earth. Listen to the sounds that drift up from the continent. The sharp, frantic calls of the ancient past have deepened. The creatures now communicate in low, rumbling frequencies, sounds that vibrate through the soil and travel for miles through the thick, heavy air. It is a language of comfort, of presence, of shared existence. A massive herd of horned dinosaurs moves together, not out of a primal, panicked instinct, but out of a synchronized, communal intelligence. They move like a single, slow-breathing organism, flowing around obstacles with the grace of water, their movements deliberate and entirely unhurried. Even the great predators, the towering carnivores of the ancient world, have been softened by the long, slow stretch of time. The desperate, violent hunger has been replaced by a calculated, patient balance. They do not hunt out of malice, they cull the weak in a synchronized dance of necessity that keeps the entire ecosystem thriving. They spend long, lazy days resting in the sun, their massive bodies completely relaxed, their incredibly intelligent eyes watching the world with a calm, stoic grace. The entire food web has become a perfect, frictionless machine, operating in a state of absolute, unbreakable harmony. Feel the peace of this slow-lane evolution washing over you. Feel the incredible, comforting weight of all those millions of years wrapping around you like a heavy, warm blanket. There is nothing you need to figure out. There is nothing you need to solve. You are simply witnessing the beautiful, slow perfection of a world that was allowed to just be. The dinosaurs continue to walk the earth, their steps heavy, grounded, and sure. They have become the true stewards of this untouched continent, living in a perfect, symbiotic relationship with the forests, the rivers, and the plains. They do not build machines. They do not conquer the land. They simply exist within it, their intelligent minds, completely satisfied by the warmth of the sun, the taste of the fresh ferns, and the deep, rumbling songs of their kin. Allow your own mind to mirror this ancient, calming intelligence. Let your thoughts slow down, matching the heavy, deliberate footsteps of the giants below. If a thought enters your mind, do not fight it. Simply acknowledge it, and then let it drift away, as slow and unhurried as a cloud passing over the ancient mountains. You are entering the slow lane. Your breathing is deep, rhythmic, and incredibly slow. Your heart beats in time with the deep, slow pulse of the prehistoric Earth. As you float above this magnificent, peaceful world, watching the eons drift by in a state of perfect harmony, let yourself surrender completely to the heavy pull of sleep. The world is safe. Time is infinite. The giants are resting, and now it is your turn to rest. Sink deeper, drift further. Let the slow, beautiful river of time carry you away into a perfect, dreamless slumber. The air above the water is cool, carrying the clean, purifying scent of ancient sea salt and fresh rain. The surface of the ocean is incredibly calm, a massive mirror reflecting the deepening colors of a twilight sky. But we are not staying on the surface. Slowly, gently, with the utmost peace and safety, we begin to descend. We slip beneath the surface, leaving the world of air and light behind, sinking down into dark blue, calming waters. The transition is perfectly seamless. There is no shock of cold, no sudden change in pressure. The water is the exact temperature of your own skin, enveloping you in a warm, protective, and infinitely gentle embrace. As you sink deeper, the sounds of the surface world are instantly muted, replaced by the deep, resonant, and incredibly soothing acoustics of the underwater realm. It is a world of heavy, liquid silence, broken only by the slow, rhythmic rush of deep-sea currents, sounding like the steady, comforting heartbeat of the planet itself. Open your eyes to the submerged world around you. As we leave the sunlit shallows and descend further into the endless abyss, the light begins to change. The bright, golden rays of the surface slowly filter out, shifting through beautiful, muted shades of turquoise, then into a rich, deep sapphire, before finally settling into the profound, heavy, dark blue of the deep ocean. This dark blue is not frightening, it is deeply comforting. It is the color of absolute rest, the color of a world tucked safely into bed. It wraps around you like a heavy velvet blanket, inviting your eyes to rest, inviting your mind to finally let go. You are floating entirely weightless in this vast, three-dimensional space. You do not need to swim, you do not need to move. The gentle, unseen currents hold you perfectly in place, rocking you slightly side to side with the hypnotic, metronomic push and pull of the ancient tides. Breathe in and feel the water gently lift you. Breathe out and feel yourself settle deeper into the comfortable dark. You are entirely safe in this aquatic cradle, a silent witness to the majestic hidden world of the deep blue. For a long time, there is nothing but the beautiful, endless expanse of the dark water. The sheer scale of the ocean induces a feeling of profound peace. The petty worries and anxieties of the surface world cannot survive down here. They are crushed into nothingness by the sheer, magnificent weight of the deep. There is only the present moment. There is only the slow, rhythmic flow of the water and the gentle, steady beating of your own relaxed heart. Gradually, out of the distant, impenetrable gloom of the deep, a subtle change begins to occur. The water around you, previously a solid wall of dark blue, begins to carry a faint, almost imperceptible vibration. It is a slow, rhythmic displacement of water, the signature of something massive and incredibly powerful, moving with perfect, unhurried grace through the depths. You feel the gentle shift in the current before you see anything, a soft rush of water that washes over you like a soothing breeze. And then, far off in the distance, a light begins to emerge. It is not the harsh, penetrating light of the sun, but a soft, ethereal, cold glow. As the massive silhouette draws closer, the darkness of the deep ocean is broken by the breathtaking sight of giant marine reptiles with gentle bioluminescent patterns gliding silently through the ocean depths. They are the undisputed leviathans of this unbroken world, creatures of such immense scale that their very presence commands absolute awe and profound tranquility. In another timeline, these magnificent beasts would have vanished completely, reduced to fossilized echoes in the stone. But here, in this perfect and peaceful alternate reality, they have been allowed to thrive, to grow, and to evolve over millions of unbroken years into beings of pure, aquatic grace. As the first of the giants approaches, you can fully appreciate its breathtaking size. It is a creature easily the size of a modern submarine, yet it moves with the delicate, fluid elegance of a ribbon caught in the wind. Its massive, powerful flippers sweep through the dark blue, calming waters in slow, deliberate arcs. Up and then down, up and then down. The movement is perfectly synchronized, creating a hypnotic, visual rhythm that lulls your mind even deeper into a state of heavy relaxation. But it is the light that truly captivates the senses. Running along the immense length of the creature's sleek, hydrodynamic sides are intricate, flowing networks of living light. These gentle bioluminescent patterns pulse in the dark, glowing with soft, cool hues of deep cyan, pale turquoise, and ghostly, ethereal green. The lights are not static. They throb and flow in time with the massive creature's slow heartbeat, creating a mesmerizing, cascading wave of color that illuminates the dark water immediately around it. Watch the lights. Let your own breathing fall into perfect synchronization with their gentle pulse. As the glowing patterns brighten, take a slow, deep breath in. As the lights softly dim, fading back into the dark blue. Release your breath in a long, relaxing sigh. Brighten and breathe in. Dim and breathe out. You are connected to the ancient, perfect rhythm of this magnificent beast, sharing in its profound, unbroken peace. Another Leviathan emerges from the gloom, and then another. They are traveling in a pod, a family of gentle giants, moving seamlessly together through the vastness of the ocean. The dark water is now illuminated by dozens of these gentle bioluminescent patterns, transforming the deep abyss into an underwater galaxy of slowly moving stars. The light they cast is incredibly soft, just bright enough to reveal the highly textured, leathery skin of their massive bodies, the elegant curve of their long necks, and the ancient, profound wisdom held in their large, dark eyes. They do not hunt, they do not rush, they are simply existing, floating endlessly through the dark blue, calming waters that have been their home since the very dawn of time. They glide silently past you, so close that you can feel the gentle displacement wave of their passage. The water pushes against you softly, a comforting physical reminder of their immense, peaceful power. They acknowledge your presence with a slow, deliberate blink of a massive eye, accepting you instantly into their silent, glowing procession. You join them on their journey. You drift alongside these ancient, glowing mountains of flesh and bone, perfectly safe, perfectly calm, enveloped entirely in the hypnotic rhythm of their movement. The massive flippers rise and fall. The bioluminescent lights pulse and fade. The dark water rushes endlessly past. It is a sensory loop of pure, unadulterated relaxation, designed to quiet the mind, soothe the nervous system, and pull you down into the heaviest, most restorative layers of sleep. The ocean around you is a sanctuary of silence. There are no sudden noises, no jarring shifts in light. There is only the steady, comforting drone of the deep currents and the soft, glowing pulse of the leviathans. Let your mind become as vast and as quiet as the deep ocean. Whenever a stray thought from the waking world attempts to bubble to the surface, simply let it go. Watch it float away and dissolve into the endless, dark blue expanse. Your mind is clear. Your body is heavy. You are floating, completely supported in the cradle of the ancient sea. Hours seem to pass in this state of perfect, aquatic tranquility. The concept of time loses all meaning down here in the deep. There is only the eternal now, the endless, hypnotic glide of the giant marine reptiles, with gentle bioluminescent patterns gliding silently through the ocean depths. You watch the glowing trails they leave behind in the water, soft ribbons of fading light that hang suspended in the darkness like fairy dust, before slowly, beautifully extinguishing into nothingness. Gradually, the pod begins to descend even deeper. They angle their massive bodies downward, aiming for the profound, absolute darkness of the ocean floor. You do not follow them all the way down. You remain suspended in your comfortable, weightless layer of the sea, watching as the gentle giants slowly fade away into the abyss. You watch their glowing patterns grow smaller and smaller, the soft cyan and green lights diffusing through the heavy water until they look like a cluster of distant, sleepy stars fading into the morning sky. And then, one by one, the lights disappear entirely, swallowed whole by the comforting, protective dark. You are alone again in the vast, silent ocean, but you do not feel lonely. You feel incredibly full, incredibly peaceful, entirely saturated with the calm energy of the gentle leviathans. The water around you is pure, dark, and perfectly still. The slow, rocking motion of the deep currents continues to cradle you, swaying you gently back and forth, back and forth. The darkness here is not empty. It is a rich, heavy blanket pulling you down into the final, deepest stages of sleep. Your body is completely numb, perfectly relaxed, dissolved entirely into the weightless ether of your dreams. The sounds of the water fade away into a soft, distant hum. The dark blue colors behind your eyelids melt into absolute, comforting black. There is nothing left to hold on to, nothing left to do but simply let go. Surrender to the heavy, peaceful weight of the deep. Drift away into the silent, ancient dark. Sleep, rest, drift endlessly in the perfect, unbroken calm. We find ourselves in a magnificent, untouched prehistoric ice age. But the first thing you notice is not the cold, but the profound, heavy silence. The ambient soundscape here is entirely unique. It is the deeply muffled audio of a snowy landscape. Millions upon millions of thick, heavy snowflakes are falling from a bruised, slate-grey sky. And as they blanket the ancient earth, they act as a perfect, natural acoustic dampener. Every sharp edge of the world is softened. Every harsh sound is completely absorbed by the endless, rolling drifts of pristine white snow. Listen closely to the absolute quiet. It is a thick, velvet silence that presses gently against your ears, hushing the racing thoughts of your mind. There is no wind howling, no trees snapping. There is only the incredibly soft, almost imperceptible whisper of the snow settling upon the earth, layer upon layer upon layer. It is a sound so subtle, so profoundly peaceful, that it immediately lulls your nervous system into a state of absolute, heavy calm. Through the falling snow, the world is painted in beautiful, muted shades of grey, deep charcoal, and glowing white. The visibility is low, reduced to a soft, ethereal haze by a gentle, slow-moving, white-out blizzard. The blizzard is not violent. It is not aggressive. It is simply a heavy, constant curtain of snow, falling in a slow, hypnotic rhythm that is incredibly soothing to watch. The flakes swirl lazily through the freezing air, dancing in the pale, ambient light before coming to rest on the soft, unbroken powder below. As you gaze into the beautiful, blinding white of the storm, massive, dark shapes begin to slowly materialize from the freezing mist. They do not appear suddenly. Rather, they gradually form out of the swirling snow, revealing themselves with the agonizing slowness of a mountain shifting in the dark. These are the undisputed sovereigns of the cold, the massive, woolly-coated dinosaurs that have evolved to thrive in this frozen, beautiful wasteland. They are breathtaking in their sheer, impossible scale. Imagine the familiar towering silhouette of a great theropod or a massive horned ceratopsian, but transformed completely by the demands of the ice. Their colossal bodies are draped in incredibly thick, shaggy coats of heavy, dark wool. The dense undercoat provides absolute, impenetrable insulation against the freezing air, while the longer, coarser guard hairs cascade down their sides, sweeping the surface of the deep snow as they move. The snow falls heavily upon their broad, dark backs, accumulating in thick, white drifts upon their woolly shoulders. They do not shake it off. They simply carry the weight of the winter with a profound, majestic stoicism. They are completely at peace in the heart of the storm. The freezing temperatures mean nothing to them. They carry a massive, unquenchable furnace of heat deep within their massive chests, a radiant warmth that keeps them perfectly, entirely safe in the unending white. Watch as they move. They are trudging slowly, their colossal weight demanding a deliberate, hypnotic rhythm. Every step is a masterclass in patience. You can hear the deeply satisfying low-frequency sound of the heavy snow compressing beneath their immense weight. It is a thick, muffled crunch, followed by the soft, airy sound of the snow collapsing inward. Crunch, sigh, crunch, sigh. It is a natural metronome, a deeply rhythmic, ASMR-like sound that vibrates softly in your own chest, syncing perfectly with the slow, steady beating of your own resting heart. As they lift their massive, heavily padded feet, the snow clings to the coarse hair around their ankles, falling away in soft, powdery clumps. And as they place their feet back down into the deep drifts, they are leaving giant, peaceful footprints in the snow. These footprints are deep, perfectly formed craters in the pristine white landscape, beautiful, temporary monuments to their quiet journey. The herd moves together, an unbroken family unit, braving the gentle storm. In the center of the protective circle, smaller, younger dinosaurs are nestled tightly against the massive, warm flanks of the adults. The adults use their colossal, woolly bodies as living windbreaks, shielding the young from the biting chill of the air. You can see the gentle, rhythmic rise and fall of their massive rib cages, entirely synchronized, entirely calm. Every time one of the adults exhales, a massive plume of warm, moist breath erupts into the freezing air. The breath instantly crystallizes, turning into a thick, glowing cloud of silver steam that hangs momentarily in the blizzard before being swept softly away. The sound of their breathing is deep, resonant, and incredibly slow, a long, cavernous intake of the crisp, freezing air, followed by a heavy, contented sigh that melts the snow directly beneath their snouts. Feel the absolute safety of this moment. The world outside may be frozen and obscured by the storm, but within this moving sanctuary of wool and warmth, there is nothing but peace. They are not hunting, they are not running, they are simply existing, walking a slow, ancient migration path known only to their deepest instincts. They are perfectly adapted, perfectly content, perfectly at home in the silence of the snow. Let the muffled audio of this frozen world wrap around you. Let the heavy, rhythmic trudging of the woolly giants anchor your mind, pulling you away from any lingering anxieties of the modern world. There are no deadlines in the ice. There are no expectations in the blizzard. There is only the slow, eternal march of the ancient earth, moving forward one giant, peaceful footprint at a time. As the herd continues its slow journey, they begin to fade back into the thick, swirling white of the storm. Their dark, shaggy silhouettes grow softer, their edges blurring into the grey and white haze of the blizzard. The satisfying crunch of their heavy footsteps grows fainter and fainter until it is entirely swallowed by the muffled silence of the falling snow. The deep, giant footprints they left behind are already beginning to fill. The gentle, constant snowfall works to erase the evidence of their passing, slowly smoothing out the deep craters until the landscape is returned to a perfect, unbroken sea of pristine white. Everything is quiet again. The ambient soundscape is nothing but the soft, static whisper of the snow. The world is dark, soothing, and completely at rest. Let your mind drift into that beautiful, empty white space. Let your thoughts become as light and weightless as the falling snowflakes, drifting lazily down until they settle and dissolve into nothingness. You are warm. You are safe. You are surrounded by the infinite peace of the ancient winter. Sleep. Rest. Let the heavy, muffled silence carry you completely away. You finally come to rest at the very bottom of the world, suspended just inches above the ground. The forest floor is a masterpiece of miniature landscapes. It is carpeted in a thick, luxurious layer of velvet-like moss, colored in deep, vibrant shades of emerald and forest green. Dew drops from the humid air have settled on the tips of the moss, and in the faint, ambient moonlight, They look like microscopic, perfectly round glass beads scattered across a dark, soft blanket. Here, at the base of the colossal trees, the roots do not simply disappear into the dirt. They rise out of the ground like massive wooden leviathans, forming high, arching caves and deep, twisting tunnels. These roots are older than civilization, covered in soft, grey lichen and thick patches of spongy moss. They create a natural fortress, a perfectly sheltered haven tucked away from the vastness of the world above. Within these dark, incredibly safe wooden caverns, life continues in miniature, if you look closely. Letting your eyes adjust to the absolute tranquility of the shadows, you will see them. Deep inside these sheltered hollows, tiny early mammals are resting peacefully in the roots of ancient trees. These creatures are no larger than a handful of autumn leaves, covered in incredibly soft, dense fur that keeps them perfectly warm in the cool night air. They are curled tightly together in a hollowed-out nest of dry, soft ferns and downy seed pods. You can see the impossibly delicate rise and fall of their tiny rib cages, their breathing synchronized in a perfectly rhythmic, gentle flutter. They are so profoundly asleep, so deeply locked in their own peaceful dreams, that they do not even stir as a stray leaf drifts lazily down from the canopy and lands silently near their burrow. Every detail of their tiny world is a testament to comfort and survival. Their small, incredibly delicate paws are tucked safely beneath their chins. Their long, soft tails are wrapped around each other like a shared blanket, pooling their warmth in the damp, cool environment of the root cave. They are the distant, ancient ancestors of the creatures we know today, living their quiet, unbroken lives in the shadow of the giants. They have found a perfect, impenetrable sanctuary in the heart of the earth, a place where they are entirely safe from the elements, wrapped in the protective, wooden embrace of the great trees. But the true beauty of this alternate timeline, the true magic of this unbroken ecosystem, is the absolute harmony of scale. Just outside the protective arch of the massive tree roots, a literal mountain of flesh and bone is resting. The tiny mammals are completely ignored by the giant, heavily armored ankylosaurs sleeping nearby. The contrast is breathtaking, yet profoundly peaceful. The Ankylosaurus is a creature of impossible scale, a living tank covered from head to tail in thick, incredibly dense plates of bone and keratin. Its massive body forms a wall of organic armor just a few feet away from the delicate, sleeping mammals. You can see the intricate, sun-weathered textures of the giant's armored shell, the deep grooves and ridges that tell the story of a long, peaceful life. In the pale moonlight, its armor looks like a landscape of its own, a rugged mountain range resting silently on the forest floor. The Ankylosaurus is locked in a deep, heavy slumber. Its massive, clubbed tail rests flat against the mossy earth, perfectly still. Its great, heavy head is tucked slightly inward, its thick eyelids shut tight against the night. And the sound is incredibly soothing. The giant creature takes a long, slow breath in, a sound like the deep, hollow wind rushing through a vast cavern. And then it exhales. The breath escapes in a low, resonant, rumbling rush of air that vibrates the very air around you. The exhalation stirs the leaves on the forest floor, sending a warm, humid breeze washing over the roots of the tree. The tiny mammals inside their burrow feel the slight vibration of the giant's breath. They feel the gentle rumble of its massive heartbeat vibrating through the damp soil. But they do not wake, they do not flinch, they do not fear it. In this world, the giants are simply a part of the landscape, as natural and as harmless to them as the stones or the trees. The heavily armored beast, provides an unintentional but impenetrable wall of safety against the night wind, a living barrier that shelters the tiny creatures nestled in the roots. The coexistence is beautiful. The macro and the micro living perfectly side by side, completely indifferent to one another, yet sharing the exact same peaceful night. The giant, armored herbivore dreams its slow, colossal dreams, its mind wandering through endless fields of ancient ferns, while the tiny, furry mammals dream their own rapid, fluttering dreams, safe within the wooden walls of the earth. Let your own breathing fall into sync with the rhythm of this ancient forest floor. Inhale slowly, drawing in the rich, earthy scent of the moss and the damp wood. Exhale fully, letting your breath join the deep, rumbling exhalations of the sleeping giants and the soft, almost imperceptible sighs of the tiny creatures in their nest. You are completely surrounded by the heavy, comforting blanket of sleep. The entire planet is resting. The deep, cello-like hum of the Ankylosaurus's breathing washes over you like a physical weight, pressing you gently down into your mattress. The tiny, synchronized breaths of the mammals in the roots remind you that you are safe, that you are sheltered, that you are entirely protected from the outside world. Everything here is slow. Everything here is perfect. The moonlight continues to filter softly through the canopy above, casting faint, silver shadows that barely move as the hours drift by. The dewdrops on the moss grow slightly larger, pulling moisture from the heavy air, perfectly reflecting the stillness of the night. Allow your mind to become as heavy and as grounded as the massive roots of the ancient tree. Let your thoughts become as quiet and as still as the sleeping creatures tucked inside. There is nothing to figure out. There is nothing to plan. There is only the sensation of sinking, of drifting, of letting go completely. The deep, rumbling breath of the giant continues. Inhale, the sound of the wind through a cavern. Exhale, the slow, heavy rush of air across the moss. The tiny, delicate breathing in the roots continues. A soft, rhythmic flutter of absolute peace. You are part of this stillness now. You are woven into the fabric of this quiet, ancient night. Let the heavy, restorative sleep of the prehistoric world pull you under. Sink down into the earth. Sink down into the darkness. Drift away into the perfect, unbroken calm of the forest floor. Sleep, just sleep. As we drift across this alternate, untouched world, the landscape beneath us begins to change. The endless forests and the frozen tundras yield to something older, something stripped down to the bare, beautiful bones of the planet. We find ourselves descending into a magnificent, sprawling labyrinth of stone. We are echoing through a vast, red rock canyon as the sun sets. The air here is entirely different. It is bone dry, incredibly pure, and holds the deep, comforting heat of the day. The towering walls of the canyon are a breathtaking masterpiece of geology, painted in impossibly rich hues of rust, crimson, burnt orange, and deep, earthy ochre. These massive stone monuments have been sculpted over millions of years by the patient hands of ancient rivers and the gentle, persistent winds. Their surfaces are smooth and curving in some places, jagged and imposing in others, creating a perfect, natural amphitheater that stretches for miles in every direction. As the sun begins its slow, final descent toward the western horizon, the canyon undergoes a magical transformation. The harsh, direct light of the afternoon softens into a thick, glowing, golden haze. The shadows cast by the towering spires of rock begin to lengthen, stretching across the dusty canyon floor like long, dark fingers, pulling the blanket of the evening over the world. The rocks themselves seem to glow from within, radiating the warmth they have absorbed all day back into the cooling twilight air. You can almost feel that ancient, radiant heat washing over you, wrapping around you like a heavy, comforting weighted blanket, soothing your tired muscles and coaxing you deeper into a state of absolute, heavy rest. Breathe in the scent of the dry earth. It is a clean, baked aroma, mingling with the faint, sweet smell of the hardy, desert-dwelling prehistoric flora that clings miraculously to the shaded crevices of the canyon walls. It is the scent of a world that is perfectly quiet, perfectly still, and entirely at peace. Down on the canyon floor, where the shadows are beginning to pool like dark, cool water, life is moving with a hypnotic, majestic slowness. Moving gracefully through the winding corridors of stone is a magnificent herd of ancient giants. They are crested hadrosaurs, their colossal bodies painted in muted, dusty tones that blend perfectly with the surrounding rocks. They walk on heavy, padded feet that make almost no sound as they press into the fine red sand, moving with a synchronized, undulating grace that defies their massive size. These beautiful creatures are not rushing. There is nothing to fear in this twilight sanctuary. They are simply gathering together as the day ends, moving toward the deeper, more protected alcoves of the canyon to rest for the night. Their large, intelligent eyes take in the shifting light of the sunset, and their magnificent, hollow head crests catch the last, brilliant rays of the golden hour. And then, the true magic of the canyon begins. From the front of the herd, the oldest and largest of the hadrosaurs stops, lifts its head toward the darkening sky, and exhales. What emerges is not a roar, and it is not a cry. It is a sound of such profound, vibrating depth that it completely defies the modern world. It is a symphony of deep, resonant, cello-like calls of crested hadrosaurs. The sound is incredibly low, a heavy, vibrating bass note that you do not just hear with your ears, but feel resonating deep within the center of your own chest. It is a rich, mournful, and entirely beautiful sound, like the drawing of a massive bow across the thickest strings of an ancient, wooden instrument. As the first call travels out into the cooling air, it strikes the towering red rock walls of the canyon. The stone catches the sound, holds it for a fraction of a second, and then throws it back, multiplying it, enriching it, and turning a single note into a cascading chorus of harmonic echoes. Before the first echo can fade, another member of the herd joins in, its call slightly higher in pitch, a mournful, woodwind-like harmony that weaves perfectly through the lower bass note. Then another joins, and another. The entire herd begins to sing to the setting sun, their hollow crests acting as perfect organic resonance chambers, producing a complex, overlapping symphony of deep, booming tones. Because of the perfect, curved architecture of the stone walls around them, the audio should feel like a natural sound bath. The sound surrounds you completely. It washes over you in heavy, rhythmic waves of acoustic perfection. It is a lullaby older than humanity, a song of pure, unbroken continuity that vibrates through the bedrock of the planet itself. Feel the physical sensation of that ancient music. Let the deep, cello-like vibrations loosen the tension in your jaw, smooth out the lines in your forehead, and draw the weight out of your shoulders. The sound is a heavy, comforting weight, pressing you gently down into the softness of your bed. With every long, echoing note that rolls through the canyon, you sink a fraction of an inch deeper into sleep. The sun finally dips below the horizon, and the sky above the canyon explodes into a breathtaking canvas of deep violet, bruised purple, and burning magenta. The golden glow on the red rocks begins to cool, shifting into deep, rich shades of burgundy and indigo. The air temperature drops, bringing a refreshing, soothing coolness that perfectly balances the radiant heat still rising from the stone floor. The calls of the hadrosaurs begin to change as the light fades. The overlapping, complex melodies slowly simplify. The higher notes drop away, leaving only the deepest, lowest, most resonant rumbles. It is the sound of a giant world winding down, a collective, vibrating sigh of absolute contentment. They are settling down into the soft sand, tucking their heavy heads against their flanks, their massive lungs slowly pushing the last notes of the evening song out into the darkening air. The echoes in the canyon grow longer, softer, and more widely spaced. A low rumble, a long 10-second pause filled only by the whisper of the desert wind, a softer, answering rumble from across the canyon. The sound bath is turning into a gentle, rhythmic pulse, a slow, hypnotic metronome guiding you into the deepest stages of rest. The stars begin to appear, pinpricks of brilliant, icy white light piercing through the deep violet of the twilight. Without a single artificial light to dim their glory, the Milky Way begins to reveal itself, a glowing river of stardust stretching directly across the narrow strip of sky, visible between the towering canyon walls. The red rocks are now entirely cloaked in shadow, tall, silent guardians standing watch over the sleeping herd. The final, soft vibration of the hadrosaur song fades into the stone, leaving behind a silence that is incredibly rich and full. It is a silence built on millions of years of peace, a silence that holds the promise of a safe, unbroken tomorrow. The only sound left is the very faint, rhythmic breathing of the massive creatures, a slow, oceanic rushing of air that harmonizes perfectly with the gentle evening wind sliding across the canyon walls. You are completely submerged in this tranquility. Your limbs are as heavy and relaxed as the ancient stones around you. Your mind is as clear and expansive as the starry sky above. Let the last remnants of the modern world dissolve entirely. Let the deep, phantom vibrations of the canyon song echo through your mind, clearing away any lingering thoughts, leaving nothing but an endless, beautiful void. You are safe in the valley of red stone. You are surrounded by the gentle, sleeping giants of an unbroken world. The night has arrived, cool, dark, and perfectly still. Drift into the silence, sink into the shadows. Let the ancient rhythm of the earth carry you away into a deep, dreamless, and profoundly restorative sleep. You are traveling far above the sprawling jungles and the deep, dark valleys. You are rising past the towering sequoias, leaving the low-frequency rumbles of the grazing giants far below. The air around you is changing. It is becoming cooler, thinner, and incredibly pure. Every breath you take in your mind's eye is filled with the crisp, absolute clarity of the high atmosphere. You are completely weightless, a silent observer floating peacefully on the gentle, invisible rivers of the wind. As we ascend, we break through a thick, heavy layer of silver mist, rising up and emerging entirely above the clouds. Beneath us, the world is completely hidden. The earth is blanketed by an endless, rolling sea of pristine white and soft grey vapor. It looks like a boundless ocean of cotton, stretching out in every direction as far as the eye can see, completely isolating this high-altitude realm from the heavy, grounded world below. Here, in this breathtaking expanse, there is only absolute, uninterrupted peace. The thick layer of clouds acts as a perfect sound barrier, muffling all the noises of the earth, leaving behind a profound, ringing silence that washes over your mind like a soothing balm. Rising majestically from this endless sea of white clouds, are the ancient, jagged peaks of the Earth. These are colossal, snow-capped mountains, their sheer stone faces and ice-covered summits piercing through the cloud layer like the quiet, sleeping guardians of the sky. The ice and snow clinging to their peaks are flawless, completely untouched, reflecting the soft, ambient light of the high atmosphere. They stand as silent monuments to the deep, slow geological time of this unbroken world. And here, in this frozen, silent, and incredibly peaceful realm, we find the true sovereigns of the sky. Drifting gracefully through the thin, icy air are the massive pterosaurs. They are creatures of incomprehensible scale and beauty, their forms perfectly adapted to a life lived entirely in the endless blue. These are not the frantic, fluttering birds of the modern age. These are ancient, majestic gliders, possessing a calm, deliberate grace that borders on the hypnotic. We watch as one of these magnificent creatures sails silently past the sheer face of a snow-capped peak. Its wingspan is breathtaking, casting a massive, fleeting shadow against the white snow. The skin of its wings is an incredibly intricate tapestry of leathery textures, pulled taut across hollow, lightweight bones. Yet, despite its colossal size, it moves with an absolute, perfect stillness. There is no frantic beating of wings, no struggle against gravity. It is completely at peace with the air around it. These high-altitude sovereigns are simply catching the thermal updrafts, those invisible, powerful pillars of warm air that rise from the hidden valleys below, punching through the cloud layer and rushing toward the edge of space. The massive pterosaurs navigate these invisible currents with an ancient, instinctive wisdom. They find the center of the updraft, spread their magnificent wings to their absolute fullest extent, and simply allow the earth to lift them. They are floating motionlessly, suspended in the crisp, freezing air, entirely surrendered to the incredible power of the wind. It is a state of perfect, effortless balance. They do not fight the sky, they become one with it. As you watch them, allow yourself to feel that same effortless surrender. Stop fighting the heavy thoughts in your mind. Stop struggling against the currents of your own fatigue. Spread the wings of your consciousness and allow the gentle, upward thermal of sleep to catch you, to lift you, to carry you away. The silence here is magnificent. It is broken only by the incredibly soft, steady rush of the wind passing over the leathery wings of the massive gliders. It is a continuous, white noise whisper, a soothing, static hiss that perfectly mimics the sound of deep, rhythmic breathing. Listen to that wind. Let it fill the empty spaces in your mind. Let it carry away any lingering fragments of stress, any tiny pieces of anxiety, sweeping your mind completely clean. As the hours pass in this state of suspended grace, the atmosphere begins to slowly, beautifully change. We are drifting into the late afternoon, moving steadily toward the evening, and witnessing a darkening sky. The sun, a brilliant, blinding sphere of pure white light, begins its slow descent toward the curved horizon. As it dips lower, the angle of its light completely transforms the high-altitude world. The endless sea of clouds below us ceases to be pure white. It begins to absorb the colors of the fading sun, shifting into breathtaking shades of soft peach, bruised violet, and deep, glowing amber. The clouds look like a painted masterpiece, a soft, textured canvas of shifting pastel colors that slowly deepens as the light begins to fail. The snow-capped mountains catch this dying light, their icy peaks burning for a brief, beautiful moment, with a brilliant golden-orange fire before slowly fading into cool, shadowed blue. The massive pterosaurs remain in the sky, entirely unfazed by the dropping temperature or the fading light. They are perfectly insulated, their bodies wrapped in fine hair-like filaments that protect them from the freezing bite of the high atmosphere. They continue catching the thermal updrafts, their colossal silhouettes turning pitch black against the incredibly vibrant backdrop of the darkening sky. They look like magnificent dark kites, tethered only to the invisible currents of the wind, floating motionlessly in a state of eternal, waking slumber. +1. As the sky darkens further, the vibrant oranges and pinks give way to deep, heavy indigos and the profound, velvety black of the approaching night. The temperature drops, making the air feel even crisper, even more pure. Feel the contrast between that freezing, thin air of the high atmosphere and the deep, heavy, comforting warmth of your own bed. Pull your blankets a little closer, sink a little deeper into your mattress. You are insulated, you are protected, you are wrapped in a cocoon of absolute safety, completely free to drift along with the ancient sovereigns of the sky. The first stars begin to appear, piercing through the darkening sky like tiny, brilliant pinpricks of diamond light. Without the interference of the dense atmosphere below, the stars up here are staggeringly bright, completely untwinkling, burning with a cold, eternal perfection. The massive gliders adjust their wings by a fraction of an inch, altering their course to catch the final, dying thermals of the day. They are preparing for the long, peaceful night, finding their perfect altitude to simply glide, sleep, and exist in the dark. Allow your own breathing to match the slow, incredibly steady rhythm of their flight. Inhale deeply, feeling the lift of the air. Exhale slowly, feeling the effortless glide. There is no destination here. There is no urgency. There is only the journey, the endless, peaceful drift through a world that is completely, fundamentally safe. The asteroid never fell. The fire never came. The sky was never choked with ash. Instead, the sky remains open, clear, and perfectly designed for these massive, peaceful creatures to fly forever. The darkness is almost total now. The sea of clouds below is completely black, completely silent, a heavy blanket pulled over a sleeping world. The snow-capped mountains are nothing more than darker, jagged shapes against the deep indigo of the night. Only the stars provide any illumination, casting a faint, pale silver glow over the leathery wings of the floating giants. You are floating with them. You are completely weightless, completely empty of thought, completely surrendered to the deep, heavy pull of sleep. The wind is whispering its eternal lullaby. The ancient gliders are watching over you. The unbroken timeline continues its slow, majestic march forward. You have nothing left to do but drift. Drift on the cold, pure wind. Drift under the brilliant, ancient stars. Drift deeper and deeper into the absolutely beautiful, profound, and unending peace of the high-altitude night. Sleep. Just sleep. As you lie there, perfectly supported by the soft surface beneath you, take another deep, slow breath in through your nose. Feel the cool, calming air fill your lungs, expanding your chest gently, effortlessly. Hold that breath for just a single, quiet moment. Now, release it. Let it flow out of you in a long, soothing sigh. With that exhalation, let go of any remaining echoes of the waking world. Let go of the light, the noise, and the endless rush of your daily life. You are entering a new space now. A space of profound, uninterrupted calm. We are drifting once again on the endless, silent river of time. The grand, majestic eras of the distant past begin to softly blur and fade, melting into the shadows of the Earth's memory. Millions of years drift by like leaves floating on a slow-moving stream. We pass through epochs of slow, gentle evolution, watching as the world breathes, changes, and grows in absolute harmony. We are moving forward through this unbroken timeline toward a beautiful and miraculous convergence. Here, we blend the ancient with the modern in a peaceful, utopian way. As we arrive at this new destination, notice how the light is changing. The bright, golden warmth of the ancient sun is softly bleeding away into the horizon. The scenes become darker, focusing on twilight and nighttime to encourage deep sleep. The sky above is a canvas of deep, bruised purples and rich, velvety indigos. The first silver stars are beginning to pierce through the cooling atmosphere, shining like tiny beacons of peace in the expanding dark. The air here is crisp, carrying the scent of dry wood, crushed leaves, and the faint, comforting aroma of wood smoke drifting lazily on the evening breeze. We find ourselves in a vast, sheltered valley, protected by towering cliffs of dark stone. Below, nestled safely in the center of a clearing, a small, warm light flickers against the gathering dark. It is a campfire. We are witnessing the dawn of humanity in this timeline. As we drift closer, weightless and invisible, you can hear the soft, rhythmic crackle of the dry branches yielding to the flames. The firelight casts a warm, amber glow, pushing back the shadows and creating a perfect circle of safety and warmth in the center of the vast wilderness. Gathered around this fire are the early ancestors of humankind. They are early humans sitting around a campfire, sharing a peaceful, mutual respect with a pack of intelligent, wolf-like raptors resting in the shadows. There is no fear here. There are no weapons drawn, no anxious glances into the dark. There is only a profound, unspoken understanding, a deep, biological treaty written in the language of shared warmth and mutual survival. Listen to the sounds of this perfect coexistence. The humans speak in low, hushed tones, their voices melodic and soft, blending seamlessly with the ambient sounds of the night. A mother gently hums a lullaby to a child resting heavily against her chest. Just a few feet away, just at the edge of the amber firelight, the raptors lie curled on the soft earth. They are magnificent creatures, their sleek, feathered bodies perfectly adapted to the cool night air. Their plumage, a tapestry of muted greys and deep earth tones, absorbs the flickering light of the fire. One of the larger raptors shifts comfortably, letting out a long, low sigh that sounds incredibly like the contented breath of a sleeping hound. Its eyes, highly intelligent and perfectly calm, slowly blink as it watches the flames dance. It rests its heavy, feathered head on its crossed forelimbs, completely relaxed, completely at home. A human elder reaches out a calloused hand, slowly and deliberately, and gently rests it on the raptor's feathered flank. The creature does not flinch. It leans slightly into the touch, a silent acknowledgement of their shared bond, their shared sanctuary. Feel the warmth of that campfire radiating outward, reaching across time and space to gently warm your own body. Feel it soothing your tired muscles, melting away any tension in your shoulders, your neck, your jaw. The fire crackles again, a shower of tiny orange sparks floating upward into the deep blue night, twisting and dancing until they fade back into the stars. Follow the path of those sparks. Let your mind become as light and as free as those tiny embers, drifting aimlessly into the beautiful, quiet dark. The wind picks up just slightly, rustling the leaves of the ancient trees that stand as silent sentinels around the clearing. It is a soft, shushing sound, a natural lullaby that has comforted living creatures since the very beginning of time. The raptors tuck their snouts deeper under their long feathered tails, conserving their heat, surrendering entirely to the heavy pull of sleep. Their breathing slows, falling into a perfect, synchronized rhythm, with the humans resting beside them. In and out, deep and slow. Every breath you take synchronizes with the breathing of this peaceful camp. As you inhale, draw in the absolute safety of this utopian world. As you exhale, release any lingering thoughts, letting them dissolve into the shadows. You are part of this circle now. You are protected by the fire. You are guarded by the silent, intelligent creatures of the forest. The night deepens further. The purple hues of the twilight have vanished completely, leaving only the profound protective blackness of the midnight hour. The fire has burned down to a mound of softly glowing ruby-red coals. They pulse with a slow, hypnotic rhythm, perfectly mirroring the beating of your own slow, resting heart. The ambient light in the clearing is incredibly soft, painting everything in shades of deep charcoal and muted amber. The conversation of the humans has ceased entirely. They are all asleep, huddled together in the warmth of their shared community, wrapped in thick furs and the gentle embrace of the night. The raptors, too, are locked in the deepest stages of slumber. Occasionally, one of their feathered tails twitches softly in a dream, or a human child lets out a soft, sleeping sigh. But otherwise, the world is perfectly, beautifully still. Allow yourself to sink deeper into the heavy comfort of your bed. Notice how heavy your limbs have become. Your arms feel like lead sinking into the mattress. Your legs are entirely relaxed, completely devoid of energy. Your eyelids are incredibly heavy, sealed shut by the comforting weight of exhaustion. You could not open them even if you tried, and you do not want to. You only want to rest. You only want to drift. The ancient forest around the camp stands absolutely silent. The giant prehistoric trees, survivors of millions of years of unbroken history, watch over the sleeping world with ancient patience. They have seen the stars wheel across the sky for countless millennia. They know that the earth will always turn, that the sun will always rise, and that there is absolutely nothing to fear in the dark. Listen to the slow, steady breathing of the pack. It is a deep, resonant sound, a grounding anchor in the vastness of the ancient night. Let that sound fill your mind, crowding out everything else. Focus entirely on the rise and fall of their breaths. Rise and fall, in and out, expanding and contracting. There is a rhythm to this world, a slow, eternal heartbeat that connects all living things. In this timeline, that heartbeat was never interrupted. It was allowed to slow down, to mature, to find a perfect, harmonious balance. The humans and the dinosaurs, sharing the fire, sharing the night, sharing the exact same peaceful dreams. Let the darkness wrap around you like a heavy, weighted blanket. It is a comforting darkness, a healing darkness. It is the darkness of a world that knows absolute peace. There are no responsibilities here. There are no worries about tomorrow, because tomorrow will simply be another beautiful, uninterrupted day in this endless chain of life. For now, there is only the night. There are only the glowing coals of the fire. There is only the slow, heavy breathing of your companions in the dark. Drift further away from the surface. Let go of the need to listen. Let go of the need to understand. Allow your conscious mind to gently power down, yielding control to the vast, peaceful landscape of your subconscious. You are perfectly safe. You are deeply loved by the universe. You are a part of this unbroken dawn, a part of this eternal night, as the glowing coals of the ancient fire slowly begin to dim, fading from amber to deep red to a soft, ashen grey. Let your own awareness fade with them. Sink into the absolute quiet. Sink into the absolute warmth. Drift down, down, down into the deepest, most restorative sleep. Let the ancient night hold you. Let the peace of the unbroken world carry you away. Sleep, rest, let go. We are floating gently through the canopy of a massive, endless jungle. But as we glide silently through the thick, emerald leaves, something magnificent begins to emerge from the shadows. Rising from the forest floor, seamlessly woven into the roots and branches of the towering prehistoric trees, are the breathtaking remains of a forgotten civilization. We drift gracefully towards solarpunk-inspired ruins covered in moss, where gentle giant herbivores use abandoned ancient human temples as massive, natural nesting grounds. This is not a place of destruction or sorrow. It is a place of profound, overwhelming peace. The structures are incredibly beautiful, carved from pale, smooth stone that seems to glow softly in the gathering twilight. Massive, sweeping archways rise gracefully into the canopy, their elegant curves mirroring the natural bending of the ancient trees. The architecture is organic, designed completely in harmony with the earth. There are no sharp, aggressive angles here. Everything is rounded, flowing, and endlessly peaceful. Over countless centuries, the jungle has lovingly embraced these structures. Thick, velvet-like layers of deep green moss carpet the stone floors and wrap around the magnificent fluted columns. Giant, glowing ferns spill out of ancient carved stone balconies, their massive fronds swaying gently in the cool night breeze. Vines as thick as a human torso spiral endlessly up the towers, creating living staircases that reach toward the darkening sky. The boundary between what was built and what has grown has completely vanished. The city and the jungle are one and the same, breathing together in perfect, quiet synchronization. Listen to the ambient sounds of this sanctuary. Far below, ancient aqueducts and beautifully carved stone channels still carry pristine, crystal-clear water through the heart of the ruins. You can hear the soft, rhythmic babbling of the water as it cascades gently over moss-covered terraces, falling into deep, reflective pools in the center of the forgotten courtyards. It is a natural, endless lullaby, a sound that washes over your mind and carries away any lingering traces of stress or worry. The water sings a song of continuity, a gentle reminder that life flows on, peaceful and uninterrupted. As the twilight deepens into night, the ruins begin to softly illuminate. In this solarpunk sanctuary, the ancient builders harnessed the gentle power of the earth itself. Deep within the stone, intricate veins of bioluminescent minerals begin to glow, casting a soft, ethereal teal and pale green light across the mossy courtyards. The light is incredibly soft, just bright enough to reveal the magnificent scale of the temples, but dim enough to protect the heavy, restful sleep of the creatures that now call this place home. And then, you feel it, a slow, deep, rhythmic vibration traveling through the ancient stone and echoing softly in your own chest. It is a gentle, comforting tremor, the sensation of immense, peaceful weight shifting in the dark. Moving slowly, gracefully through the massive open archways of the grandest temple, the true guardians of this city arrive. They are colossal creatures, gentle giant herbivores whose ancestors walked the earth millions of years ago. A family of massive Dinosaurs, their bodies the size of small hills, glides silently into the glowing courtyard. Despite their incomprehensible size, they move with a breathtaking, hypnotic elegance. Their heavy footfalls are completely muffled by the thick carpet of moss and ancient soil that covers the temple floor. They do not disrupt the peace of the ruins, they are a part of it. Watch as the largest of the giants, a magnificent ancient creature with a beautiful, intricately patterned crest, slowly lowers its massive head. It gently nudges a bed of giant soft ferns that have been carefully gathered in the center of the temple's grand hall. This magnificent space, once built for the gathering of ancient humans, has been entirely repurposed by nature. The soaring ceilings, painted with faded, beautiful murals of the stars, now serve as a protective canopy for these incredibly peaceful beasts. The air in the temple is warm, heated by the immense bodies of the gentle giants. You can hear the incredibly deep, slow rush of air as the creatures breathe in the cool night air and exhale long, heavy sighs of total contentment. The sound is a low-frequency rumble, a physical vibration that wraps around you like a heavy, weighted blanket. It is the sound of absolute safety. It is the sound of a world that knows no predators, no fear, and no urgency. One by one, the massive herbivores begin to settle down for the night. The process is agonizingly slow, incredibly deliberate, and entirely hypnotic to watch. The great leader of the herd slowly bends its massive, pillar-like legs, lowering its colossal body onto the soft, mossy floor of the nesting ground. As its weight settles onto the earth, it lets out a profound, resonant groan of relief, a sound that echoes softly through the glowing, bioluminescent corridors of the temple. The younger members of the herd follow, curling their massive bodies around the adults, seeking the warmth and comfort of their family. They tuck their long, heavy heads against their sides, their eyes closing heavily in the soft, teal light. Their breathing begins to slow, matching the rhythmic, babbling flow of the water in the courtyard fountains. In and out, deep and slow. Allow your own breathing to synchronize with the resting giants. As you hear the imaginary, deep rumble of their inhalation, take a slow, deep breath in. Feel the cool air filling your lungs, bringing with it the scent of wet stone, green moss, and the ancient, comforting warmth of the massive creatures. And as you imagine their long, heavy exhalation, release your own breath. Let it all go. Sink even deeper into your bed, feeling the imaginary, soft moss rising up to support your back, your neck, your heavy limbs. You are resting in the very center of the temple, completely hidden, completely protected. The colossal bodies of the dinosaurs form a living, breathing wall of safety around you. There is nothing in this alternate timeline that can harm you. There is nothing that can disturb your peace. The ruins stand as a silent testament to a world that learned to live in perfect harmony. A world where the monumental achievements of humanity became a quiet, loving cradle for the natural world. The night grows darker still. The sky above the open temple roof is a vast, endless ocean of black velvet, studded with the brilliant, unblinking light of a billion stars. The bioluminescent glow of the ancient stone begins to soften, pulsing slowly, gently, in time with the heartbeat of the sleeping giants. The light dims to a mere whisper of blue and green, bathing the sleeping courtyard in the faintest, most comforting twilight. As you lie there, perfectly supported by the soft surface beneath you, take another deep, slow breath in through your nose. Feel the cool, calming air fill your lungs, expanding your chest gently, effortlessly. Hold that breath for just a single, quiet moment. Now, release it. Let it flow out of you in a long, soothing sigh. With that exhalation, let go of any remaining echoes of the waking world. Let go of the light, the noise, and the endless rush of your daily life. You are entering a new space now, a space of profound, uninterrupted calm. We are drifting once again on the endless, silent river of time. The grand, majestic eras of the distant past begin to softly blur and fade, melting into the shadows of the Earth's memory. Millions of years drift by like leaves floating on a slow-moving stream. We pass through epochs of slow, gentle evolution, watching as the world breathes, changes, and grows in absolute harmony.